Hello there and welcome to our latest lockdown video. As you can see, we have Harry and I both in the studio here. We're maintaining social distancing, so there'll only be one of us hitting at any one time. The other voice you'll hear will be behind the camera when we get to chatting. So today is really just an interesting video, both for you guys hopefully and for us to find out the results of this. But we are going today to be comparing 3 generations of driver and just see what the results are. So the first one here, for those of you who remember this brand name, is a Tony Penner Persimmon driver. Tiny little head, beautiful insert with a steel shaft. The second one we're going to be hitting is the first advent of metal woods, tiny little metal wood. It's made by Fibre Speed. It's got 7 degrees of loft on there, if you can see that, which is terrifying. I'm not looking forward to hitting that at all. And the third one are Harry and I's own game drivers at the moment. So Harry uses the Maverick Sub-Zero and then I've got the Mizuno. And we're going to hit plenty of shots with each of the clubs, and then at the end we'll show you all the data and how the clubs performed against each other. Okay, stay tuned, this should be fun. Okay, so Harry's first up. Harry's going to be loading up the Tony Penner Persimmon. You can see, have you teed that down a bit, Harry?
Yeah, I've had to go down a couple of tee heights.
Okay.
I'm not normally used to teeing down a driver this low unless it's into wind, so let's give it a go.
Okay, right, good luck. Oh, sounded good. Oh no, oh no.
You cannot strike that out of the toe, I know that now. That's a good point.
Wow, okay, so toe strike you felt, yeah. What was the overall feeling like?
Not very forgiving is definitely the biggest key.
Okay, let's
Small head, not
let's
very
hit a
forgiving.
few more.
So you can get one slightly more towards the middle. Slightly closer.
Sounded a bit more middly.
Slightly closer.
Okay, so you normally play with a draw, but we can see this is hugely exaggerating your natural shape.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yet to carry one over 200 yards. That's a long time, so it's normally your 5-iron.
Right.
Steel shaft, does it feel heavy?
Yeah, definitely has a heavier feeling, not quite as much flex in there.
So we got a bit more distance that time, 256.
Yeah, I found the centre of the club a bit more that time. It's,
Interesting to see the backspin's quite low compared to modern drivers. Okay, this looks like your game ball.
Starting to find it a little bit now.
Right, yeah. Good, so 275 with the Persimmon, that's incredible. Ball speed still under 150, which is obviously lower than you expect with your modern day club, but it has taken you a few to find the middle. It's still 38 yards left of target, so I'm not too sure I can put that one on the fairway for you.
No, I don't think. I think I'll struggle. I'll be there for a long time.
Time
At
to
least I
find
know
the
I won't be going on the railway on fourth.
Okay, do you want to try a few shots with the Fibre Speed?
Fibre Speed.
This looks terrifying.
This is the smallest head on a golf cart I've ever seen.
7 degrees of loft. So are you going to have to do any changes to get it airborne, or?
I think I'm definitely going to have to move the ball a little bit further forward in the stance. Make sure it's on the inside of the left foot. Get it up in the air.
Okay.
Right. Got a feeling if you can get it up in the air, it might go a bit of distance.
Oh my goodness! This is it. This is the new game club. Wow. You must have absolutely caught that right out the middle.
That's about as good as I can hit a golf ball, I think.
So you managed to launch that at nearly 13 degrees from a 7-degree driver. That's amazing.
Yeah, I definitely have to do a lot of changes though compared to a normal golf swing. It did feel slightly different, but it's
okay.
It did have a very nice feel to it though. Once you find the sweet spot, let's see if I can not find the sweet spot.
Wow.
I'm sure that'll be not far around the corner.
Okay, so that didn't sound a lot off centre, to be honest.
No, it wasn't too far off centre. It felt a fraction towards the heel, if anything, but I think this is where you start to see the big difference. 37 yards offline for one that didn't feel too bad.
No. Yeah, much less forgiving, isn't it?
Very much so.
Okay.
A lot more modern feeling compared to the Persimmon though.
Yeah, maybe that's sounds a lot to do with that. It sounds more modern.
Still can't get over how small the head is though.
It looks tiny. Okay.
So
Very, very, very playable.
Felt pretty well struck.
If you like the right rough.
Yeah, definitely. This one might be edging slightly towards the railway line.
35 yards offline, but the speed bit down from your modern day club, but I mean not as far as I thought it would be.
No, I thought it would be a lot worse.
I think it's just finding the middle and squaring the face is the difficult bit, isn't it?
Yeah, the loft definitely plays a part in that as well, with having less loft. I feel like if I swang it like I normally would do, then I'd definitely see a bit more of a difference.
Okay, do you want to, let's crank up a few with yours then.
Okay, let's go.
So you're going to have to pop the tee height up, or?
Definitely going up a couple of tee heights. Straight away, looks like I've got a spaceship on the end of my
Oh, but that feels very familiar, doesn't it?
It doesn't feel like I can miss the golf ball now though, which is quite a pleasant feeling.
Ah, welcome back. That's a nice sound.
A bit more like it.
Wow.
A bit closer.
Okay,
It's not quite as far ahead as some others, a little bit.
No, the ball speed's jumped up, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's the big difference. As soon as that spin can jump down, that ball speed's going to take the ball a lot.
That sounded maybe a bit off the bottom?
Yeah, fraction off the bottom of the club.
This is more like the Harry I play against regularly. Yeah. Good. So again, still a bit spinny, maybe a bit off the bottom, but I don't know if you're hitting the middle or not. It's much harder to tell with the sound.
Yeah, it's definitely not quite out of the middle just yet, but the difference in forgiveness is unbelievable. I feel like that was the same shot that was going 30 yards right with the previous club. So
amazing.
I think there's a lot to be said of how technology's come along.
Sounded a bit heely, that one.
Yeah, just about out of the hill again. But
wow, look at that.
This is what you get with modern technology nowadays, is that you can hit it pretty much wherever you like, and not too much happens, hopefully.
Yeah, nearly at 160 ball speed, which is about where you hang out.
Normally where I can just about touch up to.
Yeah. Well done. Absolutely fantastic. So
right,
let's have a look at Harry's results and see how all the clubs performed on average. So here's Harry's results. This was at the averages over a lot longer session than you've seen. And you can see pretty much as we'd expect, the modern day driver at the top there, the ball speed at nearly 160 and then tailing right down to 137 with the Persimmon. The launch angle being a bit lower with the older clubs is probably just due to the loft on them, because we tried to move the ball forward to get it elevated. But interestingly, look at the backspin rate of both of the old clubs. 1,300, 1,400, not enough backspin to keep the ball flying in the air. So you can see the trajectories in the top left visual there. The Persimmon just wouldn't stay in the air for long enough and left Harry with an average carry distance of below 200 yards, which is 80 or nearly 80 yards down on his modern gaming club. And he barely missed a fairway with his own club as he does. But with the other two, it was the other way around. It was very hard to get any consistency on the fairway at all. Okay, so technology has moved on, as we can see. Let's now have a look at how I got on with the same clubs. It's probably a little bit more of a realistic test for some of you out there, because I don't have the ball speed and the club head speed that Harry has. Let's have a look. Okay, so after watching Harry have a go with these, I can't say I'm really looking forward to this. First of all is the Persimmon, Tony Penner again. First thing to tell you is it feels very short in terms of shaft length. It feels very heavy and very stiff with a steel shaft. Probably doesn't help that the grip is the original one, so it's very, very slippy as well. Like Harry, I've gone down on the shaft length. Sorry, I've gone down on the tee height, not shaft length, just to see if I can find the middle of the club here. And I've got a funny feeling with my cut swing, this isn't going to react quite as well as Harry.
I think it'd be a bit trickier to get it up in the air. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's definitely started left. It feels awful, doesn't it?
It feels very, very strange. I imagine it's bringing back some slightly old feelings from previous times.
Yeah, you're not wrong actually. I wish I could say that I never played with these, but unfortunately I did. So it didn't fade at all.
Done a lot better than I thought distance-wise though.
Yeah, the loft does look low, so I'm going to have a struggle getting this airborne. Yeah, it's done very well. 223 carry, that's much further than I thought it would go. Let's see if I can actually fade one back to the target. Right, I've got nicely under that one, so I've got a bit of elevation.
A bit more loft.
And it's definitely straighter.
Closer to the middle?
Yeah, high, a bit high off the face, which felt quite good actually.
That's sort of where the middle is in nowadays modern clubs, isn't it? I think it's definitely changed a lot. There's definitely wasn't at the higher end of the clubs.
So ball speed, wow, under 130. So I normally try and get somewhere near 150 with my own driver. So, and that wasn't badly hit actually. So
it's quite a big jump.
Yeah, carried 205. So the last one was just, it went a long way because I hooked it basically, pull hooked it. So it's one more go, see if I can get a...
See if one of us can find the middle in it.
Yeah. Probably not. Okay, so I think it's trying to fade. No, it's not. That was it, wasn't it?
That was one of the better sounding ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I hit the plastic bit. No, see, I just struggle to feel what's happening with the face there because it's set off nicely, but it hasn't faded back. Launch angle too low, spin too low. Goodness me, I wouldn't fancy my chances.
Right, let's move on to the let's move on to the 7 degreer.
Well, I'm actually probably more scared of this one than I was the wooden one because this has now got a longer shaft. It feels like the grip's equally as bad, if not worse. It's just it's tiny, isn't it?
It is really
There's
small.
no loft at all. Oh my goodness me.
I think it plays the same effect as what it does with irons. When you see a number on the bottom of the club in terms of loft, you think straight away it's more hard. I reckon the Persimmon's not far off the same loft as that, the way it
No,
played.
I think you're absolutely right. So I'm actually, just to get 7 degrees airborne, because I cut it and generally slightly possibly come down on it, this is not going to go in the air if I don't do something different. So I'm going to move the ball way forward, try and catch this slightly on the way up with a fadey type swing. I'm not holding out much hope here. Okay, oh my goodness. Right, I've got it up. I've got the face open.
Got a bit of distance.
230 all in. Carried a 2 foot. Oh my goodness me. That's a lot of side spin. But whereas with the Persimmon one I felt I couldn't get the face open, that one seemed to be way open. So
I think definitely the change to a graphite shaft is
yeah, I think you're right. This is
there's a lot more flexibility in it.
Flexible, isn't it? Okay, so I might have to make a couple of adjustments here. Right. Not quite as open. Still need it on the way up though.
Oh, what a shot.
There we go. So reduce the side spin. It's still quite hefty on side spin.
It's still got a bit, hasn't it?
I do struggle to get this one. Yeah. Okay. So edge of fairway, the push.
Yeah.
139. It's so the ball speed's picked up from the Persimmon a little bit. I seem to feel.
Yeah, edging closer definitely. I think side spin's dragging it down a bit in distance wise. But I think that's what I felt in terms of the loft myself, is that it's just more difficult to control the face, and that bit of variable of whether the face is slightly open, but because it's 7 degrees, it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like trying to drive with a putter. One little error and it's magnified. That's definitely what I felt too. I'll have one more go with this before we can go back to some degree of comfort with my own club. Again, ball too far forward for my liking. Let's see if we can get straight along. That's my straightest one. Okay, carrying around about 220.
It's good that, running out to 250 nearly.
and it's probably faded only half the width of the fairway, which is kind of what I play for. 14 yards off the tee, so that's probably on the fairway, that one. And I managed to get a 7-degree driver to launch at 15.5 degrees, so that was an achievement in itself. Okay, so finally then, let's go back to a degree of comfort.
Back up to normality.
Probably won't be able to hit my own driver now, it's too big and too long.
Feels a lot lighter when you start swinging it as well, I can tell you that.
Goodness, that's amazing, isn't it? Do you know, it doesn't feel any longer, probably because the head's bigger.
I think the weight plays that part in it as well. I think the where it's so much lighter.
It does feel really light. Okay, so I can remember what to do. Okay.
Actually, it's fading back round.
Bit heely, and it's coming back a bit. Probably started a bit too far left, does it? Yeah, okay. So it's got all my shape characteristics. It probably started a bit too far left.
Ball speed's jumped up again.
150, yeah, that's kind of where I live. 10 miles an hour behind Harry. That's generally where I live. Otherwise, the feel is just the difference, I think. Just feels so much easier to hit. I knew that.
So it's a bit heely.
It was quite a lot heely, that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Hear it a bit, but actually, as the result of it, it made no difference really. It's still carried a good 250 through the air. It hasn't taken anything off ball speed, which is the biggest key.
Amazing, that, isn't it? Because and that's 13 yards off the centre line of the fairway, so that's hit every fairway, and I really didn't hit that good a golf shot. Not a lot more to come from me in terms of speed. I'll try for a big one. Maybe got a little bit more speed, I don't know.
Testing balls again, eh?
Oh yeah, got a little bit. Richard popped in at the door. Hello, we're on camera. No, we've got live filming. Same 150 ball speed, 250 carry. That's me, and just off to the right hand side of the fairway normally. Okay, well that's a very interesting experiment. Let's have a look at my averages. So, similar to Harry, you can see the enormous drop off in ball speed. 150 with my own club down to 130 with the Persimmon. Carry distance obviously not as big as Harry's, but you'll see that my backspin rate, because of my technique being slightly fadey or cutty, creates a lot more backspin naturally on the ball. So I got the Persimmon to spin at 2,400 revs, which is pretty reasonable spin rate, and that's why it carried in 214 yards, which is actually longer than Harry got out of it. But then as the ball speed of Harry's begins to increase, he will hit the other clubs further, and that's the biggest difference there. But again, really hard to keep the other clubs, the Persimmon and the small metal, on the fairway. Just the number of good shots was very, very low percentage, and you have to take your hat off to those who played competitive golf with those sort of clubs in years gone by, because that is very, very difficult compared to the modern ones. So hopefully that was really, really interesting. It was great fun to do, and we'll be back soon with more videos. Till then, take care. Speak to you soon.